first couple of weeks of the war, our agency, Banda, made 50 various campaigns. Some were small, some were big. These are phenomenal results. And one of the reasons for this is that we experienced some sort of decentralization, meaning our teams split up and worked conceptually, loaded on their own. And we didn't ask what to do. We just went ahead and worked. And afterwards, we saw that our cool ideas were taken up by people, taken up by the government. And this creative journey is all about doing and not about asking what to do, not waiting for somebody's approval. Because as soon as you begin, more and more unfolds on its own. You want to do something, and right away there are a lot of options on how to do it. The energy at the start was quite amazing. I liked it very much. We were doing it for ourselves because it really was for ourselves. And this spirit, when we knew what was right, what to say, what to do, it allowed us to work very fast and with such, creative energy.
Before this, about a year ago, we were drawing a deck of tarot cards inspired by our own interpretation of Kyiv and by the current state of fashion and information. When the war started, there was such a level of panic on the second day that this experience of drawing cards turned into a desire to rethink the current situation and to draw the history of Ukraine. What has happened, what is happening, and what led this to happen. To understand it, we are still drawing these cards. Yes, besides, these days, it's hard to create projects about something other than the war. It is probably the most important thing happening right now. In terms of how people feel emotionally, for sure.
A great, powerful manifesto, one that really makes a difference and has an impact on history, differs from simple ones, which we have a lot of now. So, in a powerful manifesto, the author conveys a strong belief, and you can really feel that they stand for it with all their heart. This means that they not only inspire with words they've said, but they inspire with their contribution to all of this. I strongly believe that you can tell how passionate someone was while creating their work by simply looking at it. And in a great manifesto, in a great speech, you can always feel it. There's an interesting switch when you go from facts to emotions. It always works out in a much more powerful way. It's a type of magic. You take some facts that you need to convey and turn them into a creative work. For example, when our job was to make the world close the sky above Ukraine, we created a lullaby. In it, a mother is singing to her child in a calm voice that if the sky isn't closed, we're going to die, and you are going to die. So, on one hand, the medium is really nice, warm and comforting, and on the other hand, the words in the lullaby. It's due to this contrast that it works, and it starts spreading. It's magic. Well, it's part of creativity, to turn facts into something emotional.
The most promising messages and artistic approaches are those that have a sense of humour to them. I have this feeling that if only documentaries and realistic movies were released in cinemas now, and especially after the war, it's unlikely that anyone would... It would be a horror no one would watch. It's too heavy. Humour offers a far easier way to convey an idea to broad audiences and stomach it ourselves. Also, what artists need to do is destroy the representation of divine power among rulers and tyrants, as if they are gods. They are just regular people. What's more, they are scared, with a bunch of insecurities, and just pathetic.
Now at the creative front, people generally accept ideas that are, not promotional, not artificial, when it's obvious they're made by people, by themselves in unideal conditions. When these people really want to convey their message. And these imperfections, this rawness, it really conveys sincerity. And the sincerity wins you over. Then, you want to share these works. You want to send them to your friends, because behind it, you see people's pain, their desire to help, rather than well thought out moves and advertising techniques. That's why I really like that now. There are a lot of creative works like this, humane, simple. As if it all appeared by accident, as if, boom, and it was born by itself.
We wanted to use visual symbols to convey what is happening right now, and what was happening before. But as we haven't lived through the entirety of Ukraine's history, we could only draw inspiration from the subconscious. If you are an artist, what you do is strongly tied to the subconscious. What I also want to say is that recently, there was a huge growth in the level of consciousness among Ukraine citizens. There are not only Ukrainian people here, it's a multicultural space, and the self-awareness of who a Ukrainian is has grown. Actually, we noticed one thing. Before the beginning of the war, when you were creating something as an artist, you would look up to Europe, to the US, meaning that being yourself wouldn't be exactly cool. I'm not sure how to describe it. No one actually said it out loud, but you could feel that everyone was thinking this subconsciously. Whereas now when you are drawing, you feel such freedom that you can speak, and you will be heard all over the world.
For our Brave Ukraine campaign, we were contemplating about the message we wanted to spread for a long time. And in no way did we want to speak from a position of weakness, from the position of a victim. Because we went and bravely joined the battle. We are defending ourselves and fighting with determination. We are awesome. And that's why we tell the world, be brave like Ukraine. Be brave like Ukraine. Because this is real. This is what makes people human. Because without bravery, when you come to think of it, without bravery there'll be nothing. Without bravery there'll be no freedom. Bravery is the very thing that allows all other qualities to show. And it's cool that in Ukraine we have found a lot of this bravery. Bravery is kind of our national resource, and now we're going to export it to the entire world. We are the main exporter of courage in the world. That's cool.
We received rather different feedback from our audience, less about the tarot cards and more about the cartoons. It's not exactly coming from our regular audience, rather from many Russians. There were a ton of negative messages. An argument started and we could only observe it. Some people in our audience pointed out the negative meaning of a few cards, but in fact, tarot doesn't have to be positive only. Actually, they need to portray the history in its entirety, both the positive and the negative side of what was happening in Ukraine. Some ruler was a traitor, so they're saying he shouldn't be painted, or say Mikhail Bulgakov shouldn't be painted, but cards don't only have positive meaning. Indeed, they don't hide history.
Many creative people quite often depreciate things they can do as creators, as creative specialists. For many of them, it feels like volunteering physically will contribute more, because when you are volunteering in a creative field by generating ideas, very often it's a very invisible process with invisible results. You've been trying to come up with an idea for 7 days. It's like you were thinking all Monday, but nothing came to mind. You were thinking all Tuesday, but nothing came to mind. And it really demotivates you. I wish people would remind themselves more often that, essentially, this world grows, develops, becomes more awesome thanks to ideas. I wish they would keep on trying to generate them no matter what. Even if they didn't work out today. Even if they didn't work out the next day, still look for the best way to convey your message.
The ideal course of action is for everyone, apart from the people defending our country, to keep on doing what they're used to, and we shouldn't slow down. This is important to keep our mental health in check and to support our economy and culture. Yes, and culture. It's best for artists to keep creating and try not to get trapped in a state of shock. Also, there's another interesting insight. Now there is a wave of cancelling Pushkin, Tchaikovsky and other artists from Russia, but note that it was the magnitude of these people that used to uphold the authority of Russia for such a long time. People of art are great at supporting the attitude towards their country, so this is a crucial moment.